Long ago, when the spirits still whispered through the trees and the earth still spoke to those who listened, there was a kingdom called Eriola, a land blessed with golden plains, tall baobab trees, and winds that carried secrets from one mountain to another. The people of Eriola believed that every breeze was alive, that the wind itself was a messenger of the unseen. When the leaves rustled, they said it was the voice of a wandering spirit. When dust swirled in a sudden gust, they believed the wind was dancing with the souls of the ancestors. And in this land of whispers and wind, there lived a maiden named Amina, a woman whose beauty was said to rival the moon when it was full and bright. Her eyes were as dark as midnight rain, her hair long and soft like silk spun from shadows, and her voice carried the kind of grace that made even the birds stop to listen. Amina was the daughter of Chief Adio, the ruler of Eriola's western plains. Her mother, Nina, was a gentle woman, known for her wisdom and kindness. Together, they raised Amina with love and care, teaching her the old ways, how to speak to the river, how to respect the trees, and how to listen when the wind spoke. But as Amina grew, her beauty became both her blessing and her burden. By the time she turned 18 seasons, men from near and far came seeking her hand. Warriors, princes, hunters, and even the sons of neighboring kings rode to Eriola with gifts of gold, cattle, and silk. They sang her name in songs, recited poems of her beauty, and promised her lives of wealth and splendor. Yet, Amina turned them all away. One after another, she rejected them, not with anger, but with calm certainty. "You are brave," she told one hunter, "but your heart loves the kill more than it loves peace." "You are kind," she said to a prince, "but your kindness comes with pride." To another, she simply smiled and said, "Your words are sweet, but your spirit is silent." Soon, people began to whisper. They said Amina's heart was made of stone, that she thought herself above men, or that she was bewitched by her own reflection. But Amina paid them no mind. She spent her days by the cliff of the eastern wind, a sacred place where the air flowed strongest, carrying the scent of rain and the distant echo of spirits. There, she often closed her eyes and listened. The wind seemed to speak to her, in murmurs only her heart could understand. One evening, as the sun sank behind the hills and the war turned gold, Amina stood at that cliff with her mother beside her. "My daughter," Nina said softly, "why do you reject every man who seeks you? Have they not brought gifts enough to please the gods themselves?" Amina smiled faintly. "Mother, I hear them, but I also hear something else. When the wind touches my face, I feel life. When it whispers, I feel love. No man has ever made my soul feel what the wind makes me feel." Her mother frowned. "The wind, my child. The wind belongs to no one. It cannot be held. It cannot stay." But Amina's eyes shone with strange light. "Then perhaps I am meant to belong to no one too," she said. "If no man can reach my spirit, then I will marry the wind itself." Her mother gasped and made the sign of protection. "Amina, do not speak such things. The spirits hear words like these and take them to heart." But Amina only smiled, her hair flowing wildly around her as a sudden gust swept across the cliff. That night, as the moon rose high, the winds around Eriola grew stronger than ever before. The villagers said it was a sign that the spirits had heard the maiden's vow. They were right. 3 nights later, the wind came. It started as a soft breeze that brushed through Amina's window, curling around her sleeping form like invisible fingers. Then it grew, spinning gently, whispering her name over and over again. Amina. 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 She stirred and opened her eyes. The room glowed faintly with moonlight, yet she felt no fear, only a strange calm, like a child hearing a familiar song. "Who calls me?" she whispered. The air shimmered before her, and in the rippling light appeared a figure made of mist and moonlight, tall, graceful, and cloaked in the soft glow of the unseen. His eyes burned like stars caught in fog. "I am the wind you have called," said the spirit, his voice like 1,000 whispers speaking as one. "You vowed to love me, to be mine. I have come to claim your heart." Amina rose slowly, her breath trembling, yet her eyes steady. "You are the wind. I am the one who moves between worlds," the spirit said. "The breath of mountains, the voice of rivers, the dance of dust and life. You spoke, and I heard." The air around her pulsed with energy, her hair lifting as though drawn by unseen hands. "Will you come with me, Amina?" the wind asked. "To my world, where there is no death, no hunger, no pain. You shall live among the spirits, unseen yet eternal." Her heart pounded, caught between awe and fear. She thought of her mother's words, that the wind cannot be held, and yet, the spirit before her felt more real than any man she had ever known. "Yes," she whispered. "I will go with you." The spirit extended his hand, a swirl of mist that took form, and as Amina placed her fingers upon it, her body began to dissolve into light. The wind howled softly through the village as she vanished from her room, leaving behind only the faint scent of rain and a single strand of her dark hair fluttering on the windowsill. Amina awoke to silence. She found herself standing in a world unlike any she had ever imagined, a realm of shimmering air and glowing horizons. The sky rippled like water, and the ground was made of soft light that changed color with each step. Around her floated shapes, half seen, half felt, the spirits of wind, each moving with fluid grace. The spirit who had brought her appeared beside her, now in human form, tall and luminous, his face both beautiful and distant. "Welcome, my bride," he said. "This is the realm of the unseen. Here, you shall live free from the weight of flesh and the sorrow of time." Amina looked around, amazed. The spirits danced like ribbons of smoke, their laughter ringing like distant bells. She felt light, her feet barely touching the ground, her heart swelling with wonder. Days turned to nights, though in this realm, neither truly existed. The wind spirit, whose name was Ori, kept her close. He showed her how the winds moved through the human world, how they carried songs, tears, and secrets. He taught her to ride the gust, to listen to the sigh of mountains and the hum of stars. And for a while, Amina was happy. But as time passed, she began to notice something missing. The spirits laughed without joy. They danced without music. They existed, but they did not live. She missed the warmth of the earth beneath her feet, the sound of her mother's voice, the laughter of her people, the scent of roasted yam and rain-soaked soil. And most of all, she missed feeling alive. One evening, as she stood on a cliff of invisible air, watching the shadow of the mortal world below, Amina turned to Ori. "Do the spirits ever return to the world of men?" she asked. Ori's eyes darkened. "Why do you ask such a thing?" "Because," she said softly, "I long to feel the earth again. To touch it, if only once more." Ori's face grew distant. The world of men forgets easily. Those who cross into this realm cannot return unchanged. If you go back, you will no longer belong there. But do I belong here? She asked. The wind grew still, a silence that carried weight. Ori turned away. You are mine now. Your breath, your heart, your spirit, they belong to the wind. Amina's voice trembled. Then is this love, Ori? To possess, not to share. His form flickered, his voice now both gentle and cold. You called me, Amina. You vowed yourself to the wind. Every vow has a price. She felt her chest tighten. For the first time, she understood the warning her mother had given her, that the wind cannot be held, and love with the unseen carries a deadly cost. That night, she wandered alone across the endless air. The wind whispered to her, but she no longer found comfort in its song. She began to fade, her form growing lighter, her memory of her human life slipping away like mist. Desperate, Amina sought out the oldest spirit in the realm, Eri, the keeper of the wind's memory. She found him dwelling within a storm, ancient and vast. Great Spirit, she pleaded, I wish to return to my world. I wish to see my mother again, to walk upon the earth. Eri's voice rumbled like thunder. Few who come here ever wish to return. And those who do, pay dearly. I will pay any price, Amina said. The spirit's eyes glowed. Then listen well, daughter of flesh. The wind cannot die, but humans can. If you return, you will not stay whole. The wind will always call for what belongs to it. Amina bowed her head. I understand. Eri extended a hand made of lightning and touched her brow. Then go, but when the wind calls your name again, you must answer. That is the bargain. The word blurred. A storm rose around her. And with a final cry, she was cast down, through cloud, through air, through silence, until she struck the mortal earth. Amina awoke at the edge of the same cliff where she had once made her vow. The morning sun bathed the world in gold, and the scent of wet earth filled her lungs. But when she looked down at her hands, she saw that her skin shimmered faintly, almost transparent. Her heartbeat was soft, distant, like the echo of a drum heard through mist. She walked back to her village, her feet barely disturbing the dust. When her mother saw her, she fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. My child, you have returned. The gods be praised. Amina smiled and embraced her, though her arms felt light as air. For days, the village rejoiced, but strange things began to happen. When Amina walked through the fields, the wind followed her, bending the grass in her path. When she spoke, her voice carried far, as though the wind itself repeated her words. Children whispered that she was no longer human, that her eyes held storms, that her laughter could summon rain. And deep in the night, when the wind howled around the huts, her mother would see Amina staring at the moon, her hair floating though the air was still. Months passed. Amina tried to live as she once had, but she could not escape what she had become. Whenever she heard the wind rustle through the trees, she felt Ori's voice calling her name. Sometimes she would wake in the night to find the curtains fluttering though the windows were closed. Amina. The whisper was everywhere, in the trees, in the rivers, in her dreams. She grew pale, her body growing lighter with each passing moon. One evening, As she stood once again upon the eastern cliff, her mother found her there, gazing into the sky. "My daughter," Nina said softly, "you have grown distant. Tell me, what troubles your heart?" Amina turned to her, tears shining in her eyes. "The wind calls for me, mother. I thought I could escape it, but I was wrong. I do not belong to this world anymore." Her mother clutched her hand tightly. "Then fight it. You are flesh and blood." Amina smiled sadly. "Not anymore." A sudden gust swept across the cliff, lifting her hair and dress. The wind howled, not angry, but longing. "Amina." Her mother's eyes widened. "No. Stay with me." Amina leaned forward, tears streaming down her face. "Tell them my story, mother. Let them know that some vows should never be spoken beneath the open sky." The wind roared, wrapping around her like a lover's embrace. And with a final whisper, "I am the wind's bride," Amina dissolved into air, her body scattering like dust into the sunset. Years passed, but the people of Eriola never forgot her. Whenever a soft wind blew through the village, the elders would say, "Amina walks among us." When a storm rose suddenly from a clear sky, they would whisper, "The wind misses his bride." And mothers would tell their daughters, "Be careful what you vow beneath the sky, for the spirits listen, and the wind always keeps its promises." They say that on quiet nights, when the moon is bright and the air is still, a gentle breeze sometimes carries the scent of rain and whispers a name, Amina. And if you listen closely, you might hear her laughter dancing through the trees, light, distant, and eternal. Please let us know where you are watching from. Leave a comment below. We love to hear from you. Please like the video and share with your family and friends. Please also subscribe to this channel so we can bring more videos to you. Thanks for being part of us.